Revo Rundown, Episode 1. In this series, we'll talk mainly tips and tricks for the Mini E Revo, but a lot of this information will work in general for any RC. Also, we'll talk about beginner stuff, things that are good to know and good to have when you're first starting out. Now, I'm also new to this hobby, so I'm learning. I just want to share everything I've picked up in the last few months. Maybe it'll help you out, so let's get into it. Make your own toolbox. You'll need storage for your RC tools. Something mobile is best. You're going to want to bring your tools with you if you have to leave home to run your RC. I get these expired first aid kits from work and use the cases for different things. These cases are usually pretty sturdy. They also have compartments inside to separate stuff. I also like to make my own label for them, or just put stickers all over. Tools from the get-go. Your RC will probably come with a few tools, Allen wrenches, and a T-wrench. The T-wrench is mostly for taking off your wheel nuts and adjusting your slipper clutch. At least with the Mini E Revo anyway, I haven't found any other uses for the T-wrench. The Allen wrenches RCs come with are fine and they'll get the job done, but they can be awkward and slow to work with. Things I would suggest to get right away. From Apex RC Products, this Allen driver. This makes working on your RC so much faster and easier. I found this on Amazon for about 15 bucks. Most of the Allen head screws on the Mini E Revo have 2mm heads. Make sure when purchasing an Allen driver tool, it has the correct size bits for your RC. The Apex tool I have has 1.5, 2, 2.5, and 3mm bits. I would suggest getting a full set of these long ball-end Allen wrenches. They're extra long so they can get into hard-to-reach places, and they have a ball end that allows you to use them at an angle. Usually, these sets come with standard and metric sizes. Metric are in millimeters, and standard or SAE are fractional. Your RC is probably all metric. You'll find that your screw heads will wear down and strip out. This is where the extra set of standard size wrenches can be handy. You might be able to use one of the standard size wrenches that is slightly larger than the metric size needed to remove the screw with a stripped head. One last thing about this set. The grub screw on the Mini E Revo drive shaft knuckles, it's tiny. The Revo didn't come with a wrench small enough to get those little screws out. I found that none of the metric wrenches fit the grub screw, so I think the 1/16 wrench from the standard set fit perfectly and got the job done. Get a cheap flashlight. If you drop a screw down in your chassis or there's something jamming up in your drivetrain, it's handy to have some light to see what's going on. 10mm box wrench. For the Mini E Revo, you'll need this to take your shock caps off. For other RCs, you might need a different size wrench. Don't use pliers to remove your shock caps. Needle nose pliers. These are great for grabbing screws or small parts that are hard to reach. They also help out when removing suspension hinge pins and putting them back in. Pill bottle. These are great for putting spare parts in. I keep any old parts that are still usable in one of these little bottles in my kit. If you're away from home, it's great to have spare parts to keep you going if something breaks. Small flathead screwdriver. This is a must. Chances are there are no flathead screws on your RC, but when taking things apart, sometimes you need a little pry bar. Try taking your steering assembly off with just your fingers. Sometimes that thing is stuck on there pretty good. Now try using a little flathead screwdriver to carefully pry it off. Zip ties. These are great to have in any toolkit. You can improvise some pretty good fixes that can save the day. Extra batteries for your controller. Keep a fresh set of batteries for your RC's controller in your toolkit. Once again, if you're away from home running your car and your controller batteries die, you're out of luck. But if you have a spare set in your toolkit with you, you're good to go. Other good things to have: WD-40, silicone spray, and canned compressed air. These are all great products to have on hand when cleaning and lubricating your RC. A brush and a rag. For cleaning, I like to keep an old cheap paintbrush and a rag handy. It's nice to have a rag handy for cleaning parts as well as wiping down the whole car. The brush comes in handy for cleaning dust and gunk out of all the nooks and crannies. I like to cut the brush handle down so it's easier to put in my toolkit. Parts containers. When you're taking your RC apart, you'll want to keep things organized and separated. This makes things easier when you're putting it all back together. I just use these lunch meat containers. They work great and they have a lid so there's less chance of losing parts if you bump that container off your workbench. Ziploc bags. Sandwich bags are great for keeping spare parts clean and organized, and a lot of times when you get parts in the mail, they have these little Ziploc bags for screws and small stuff. I like to keep these bags. They're great for storing any small extra spare parts or hardware. That's it for this week's episode. Please hit the subscribe button and check out my channel for more fun videos.